Layla's got a ka'ka tazij straight out the oven, but her husband isn't home yet. What is she to do? Assalamu alaikum everybody, and welcome to episode 2 in our series that we're doing here on the Arabic in 60 Steps YouTube channel. This is a series that I'm doing to sort of complement the studies of my students on the Arabic in 60 Steps program, but then also give those of you who are not on the program an opportunity just to learn more Arabic, because that's what it's all about. So what we're going to do, we have a shorter paragraph actually in this particular video, but still there's tons of Arabic in there for us to get into. So without further ado, no announcements, let's just get straight into it. So what do we have? We have after the last line of the last lesson was معها في بيت واحد, that he lives with her in one house. What do we have? We have ليلى لا تريد أن تترك بيتها. ليلى, she does not, ليلى, okay, let's just say ليلى. لا تريد أن, she does not want to. تترك, the verb is ترك, يترك, ترك يترك, it means to leave something. She does not want to leave بيتها, she does not want to leave her house. وتذهب, okay, we keep a تذهب, usually if we're using the verb ذهب, to go, we're saying you go or she goes, we'd say تذهبوا. But in this case we have تذهب because it's also being referred to by the N previously. So we're saying لا تريد أن تترك ولا تريد أن تذهب. Right, the لا تريد أن is sort of implied with the next verb that's used. So that's why it's منصوب or has a fatha on the end, and with the verb تذهب. إلى البيت إلى بيت والدتها. So she doesn't want to go to the house of her mother. Good. لأنها لم تستأذن, because she has not. The idhn is the permission of something. You might have heard people say بإذن الله, with the permission of Allah, or by the permission of Allah. But the verb استأذن means to seek permission for something. So لم تستأذن, she did not seek permission from زوجها, from her husband. Good, yes, so she doesn't want to go because she hasn't got permission from her husband, or informed him that she wants to go. في خروجي وهو غائب. In her khuruj, she hasn't spoken to her husband about her leaving, about her going out. وهو غائب, and he is, or as he is, غائب, he is absent. The verb غاب يغيب, it means to be absent, hence why we have the word ghaib in the Islamic tradition, meaning the unseen. In fact, we use the active participle this ghaib to just mean absent. I remember being in the Arab world in a university, and we don't really do this in the UK, but in the Arab world they seem to. Even at university level, teachers do the register to see what students are there and who's absent. In the UK, they don't care if you're absent. It's just less work for them, so they don't care if you miss 7 weeks of university or whatever. But in the Arab world, they seem to. So when you're answering the register, if you say ghaib, obviously on behalf of somebody else, they call out from the register, whatever, right? Mus'ab, Ahmed, huwa ghaib, he's absent. But if you're there, you say hadir, hadir. We actually see both of those verbs, ghaba and hadara, in this text. Actually, we see the opposites. Anyway, so the point of this part though is that huwa ghaib, and he is absent, he's not there. Good. Abu Layla, he's obviously the husband of Layla. Abu Layla kharaja ila amalihi, he went out to his work sabahan. He went out to his work in the morning. Could have just as easily said for sabah, in the morning, but sabahan, it means he went out in a working way. This is a way of using it as an adverb on the way that he did, where he went to his amal. He went out sabahan. وَلَا يَعُودُ إِلَّا مَسَاءً, and he does not return إِلَّا مَسَاءً, until the evening. Yes, the verb يَعُودُ, from the verb عاد يعود, and it's actually, I believe, the root where the word Eid comes from. In the previous lesson we talked about the word Eid because we have the word al-Eid, Sa'id, the happy Eid, right? The term Eid, I believe, comes from the verb عاد, because an Eid keeps on returning, it keeps on coming back every year. That's kind of the definition of an Eid. Very nice. And so I suppose in a sense, weekly or monthly things might be an Eid in a sense, like Salat al-Jum'ah in a sense is an Eid because it comes around every week. But we don't say we don't say Eid Mubarak on Jum'ah, but in a sense it is. Good. Layla. What happens with Layla? لا تحب أن تنتظر حتى يحضر زوجها. So لا تحب, she does not love. أن تنتظر, in the verb انتظر, it means to wait. I've heard that in Urdu. I don't know if the Urdu speakers can correct me on this, but I'm sure when I was at university, my dorm was close to a Pakistani guy who used to listen to Bollywood films, and I heard intizar karke, and I think intizar comes from the word intidar in Arabic. That would be my assumption. Anyway, I digress. But she does not like to wait. She does not like to wait. Hatta yahduru. Do you know I mentioned the word hadara, meaning to be present, until zawjuha becomes present. You know, until he comes back from work. It doesn't mean to arrive. The verb arrive is wasala. Yahduru is literally like when he's present again. Right? She doesn't want to wait until he's present again. Good. Abu Layla. Haven't we already seen Abu Layla? Am I missing? Am I? No, I'm not. It's okay. So yeah, we are here, Abu Layla. From our section today, we're on the 4th line. Abu Layla. وَتَسْتَأْذِنَهُ. Yeah, so she doesn't want to wait until Abu Layla is home. Her husband, Abu Layla, is home. وَتَسْتَأْذِنَهُ. So once again, you know how I mentioned how we had a لَا تُرِيدُ أَن, and then we had, which verb, تَتْرُكَ, and kind of an implied لَا تُرِيدُ أَن تَذْهَبَ. Right, which is why tadhhaba had a fatha on the end. It's the same case with this tasta'dhina, because earlier we had hatta yahdura, until he arrives. So and also hatta tasta'dhina, until she can ask permission. For what? في الذهاب, in the going. Right, the verb dhahaba means to go. Dhahab is the masdar, it's the verbal noun, the going. إلى بيت والدتها, to the house of her mother. في الغد, in في الغد, غدا means tomorrow. But she doesn't want to go tomorrow, right? But she'll have to go tomorrow if she waits. Good. إنها تريد إرسال. She wants إرسال. She wants the sending. Al-Ka'ki, but so this is she wants the sending of the cake, right? This is an idafa as well. Irsal al-Ka'ki is the sending of the cake. Verily, she wants the sending of the cake ila walidatiha al-yawma. She wants the sending of the cake al-yawma, today. Usually, al-yawm goes on the end of sentences when you say you did something today, so you usually don't actually hear the fatha on the end of al-yawma, but most of the time, these kind of adverbs of time, you did things at a certain time, including when you tell the time and things like this. If you did something, even we saw it earlier, sabahan, right? You did it in the morning. Al-yawma, when you're saying today, usually has a fatha on the end, but you very rarely hear it, you know. But it's just for those of you who are doing the writing exam for me and stuff, like I'll give you extra points for that because I like it when people know things like that. Good. وهو طازج. It's طازج, man. It's got to go today. طازج يعني fresh. طازج. Good. And it is طازج. Talking about the ka'ka. The cake is طازج. Good. ماذا تصنع أم ليلى? That's my question at the beginning. ماذا تصنع? What should she do? ماذا تصنع أم ليلى? What should Leyla do? Now, should we do any more? No, I think that's enough. I think that's all that I had planned today. I wanted to do Leyla. إلى ماذا تصنع? So we've done all of that. Very nice. So what do I think are useful phrases of the day? I think the verb استأذن, to seek permission from somebody, is really useful. Being able to say لا تريد أن, she does not want to, or لا أريد أن, I do not want to. Saying the verb انتظر, أنا أنتظر, I'm waiting, أنا أنتظر. Saying, using the terms غائب and حاضر, useful as well to say that you're present or you're absent. They're really useful. And even the word طازج, if you go to restaurants and stuff and you want to say طازج, you want to ask if something's fresh, you can use the word طازج, because it's used for bread, it's used for cake, it's used for anything food related. طازج. Very nice. Okay, so that is everything for this video. Thank you so much for coming to join me for another episode of this story which we're doing. Obviously it's called LAYLAA والذئب in the story, but we kind of know it to mean Little Red Riding Hood because we know the story and stuff. We actually haven't encountered the Arabic translation of the name Little Red Riding Hood, but Arabic kind of needs to use a different name for it because Little Red Riding Hood, I mean, what does it even mean in English? Like if I was to use the same language as a name for a girl, and I was to say, oh, it's Big Blue, it's Big Blue walking coat, right? Like I don't think that's a very, I don't think we'd describe like if there's a little girl and I write a story calling her Big Blue walking coat, right? I use the same kind of language structure, and we were to do that in Arabic. Unless you actually know the story, I don't think it sounds right. So I think the author has done right to say Layla were Dhi'b, because that's what the story's really about. It's about Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf. That's the whole point of it. So yeah, so that's everything for this lesson. If you have any questions at all, please just put them in the comment section below. If you want to inquire about the Arabic in 60 Steps program, just go to arabic60steps.com. If you want to inquire further, send me an email, sam@arabic60steps.com. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.